Faith slammed the door of her beat-up Honda, the sound echoing through the quiet suburban street in suburban Atlanta. She had come to help her best friend Emily's mom fix the backyard fence, a simple favor turned urgent after last week's storm. But as Felicity handed her the hammer, her eyes lingered too long, and in a whisper that cut through the afternoon air, she confessed, "Faith, I've been in love with you for years, please don't tell Emily." Faith's heart pounded like a drum in her chest, the hammer slipping from her fingers as the world tilted. How could this be happening? Felicity, the woman who'd baked cookies for their sleepovers, who'd cheered at their high school graduations, now standing there with tears welling, her secret hanging between them like a live wire. Faith's mind raced back to stolen glances she'd dismissed as maternal affection, but now they reshaped into something deeper, forbidden. She wanted to run, to pretend she hadn't heard, but her feet stayed rooted, trapped by the weight of what this meant for all of them. Inside, Faith wrestled with the storm brewing in her soul. Was this revulsion or recognition? She'd always felt a pull toward women, buried under layers of denial, but admitting it now, with Felicity of all people, felt like stepping off a cliff. Emily was like a sister. Betraying her would be unthinkable. Yet Felicity's vulnerability cracked something open in Faith, a curiosity she couldn't ignore. She picked up the hammer again, pretending to focus on the fence, but her thoughts screamed. What if this is real? What if I've been lying to myself all along? As they worked side by side, Felicity's words spilled out in hushed tones, each one a revelation. She'd married young to Emily's father out of expectation, not love. The marriage had been a facade, crumbling under years of unfulfilled desires. "I saw you grow up," Felicity admitted, her voice trembling. "And somewhere along the way, admiration turned into something I couldn't control." Faith's stomach twisted. Admiration? Or had it been grooming? No, Felicity seemed genuine, her pain raw. But the age gap, the family ties, it all screamed wrong. Faith hammered a nail too hard, splintering the wood. "This can't happen," she muttered. But her resolve wavered as Felicity's hand brushed hers, sending an electric jolt through her body. The afternoon dragged on, the fence slowly mending while their conversation deepened. Felicity spoke of her isolation, the church groups where she pretended to be the perfect wife, the nights she'd cried alone. "Society doesn't make room for women like us," she said, her eyes pleading. Faith thought of her own life, single, drifting through jobs, avoiding commitments that might force her to confront her sexuality. She dated men half-heartedly, always feeling something missing. Now, facing Felicity, that missing piece clicked into place, terrifying and exhilarating. But at what cost? Emily's trust, her family's stability, everything hung in the balance. By sunset, the fence stood straight, but Faith's world was crooked. Felicity begged her to think about it, to meet secretly. "I know it's selfish," she whispered, "but I've waited so long." Faith drove home in silence, her mind a whirlwind. She couldn't tell anyone. The scandal would destroy them. Yet ignoring it felt like denying herself. That night, alone in her apartment, Faith stared at the ceiling, replaying Felicity's confession. The pull was undeniable, but so was the guilt. How could love feel so much like destruction? She tossed and turned, weighing the risks. Pursue this and risk losing Emily forever, or bury it and live with regret. The choice gnawed at her, a moral maze with no clear exit. The next morning, Faith's phone buzzed with a text from Emily. "Thanks for helping Mom yesterday. You're the best." The words stung like salt in a wound. Faith replied with a thumbs-up emoji, her fingers trembling. She couldn't face Emily yet, not with this secret burning inside. Instead, she drove back to Felicity's house, telling herself it was to check the fence. But deep down she knew it was more. Felicity opened the door, relief flooding her face. "I didn't think you'd come back." They sat in the kitchen, coffee steaming between them, the air thick with unspoken tension. Felicity poured out her story, years of suppression unfolding like a tragic novel. Raised in a conservative family, she'd married at 22 to escape questions about her lack of boyfriends. Emily came soon after, a joy that masked the emptiness. "I love my daughter," Felicity said, tears streaming, "but I've never loved a man." Faith listened, her own doubts mirroring Felicity's. She'd come out to no one, fearing rejection from her progressive but judgmental friends. "What if they see me as a stereotype?" Faith thought, her inner voice laced with fear. But here was Felicity, offering a mirror to her soul. As they talked, the conversation shifted to possibilities. "We could be careful," Felicity suggested, her hand reaching across the table. Faith pulled back, conflicted. The ethics screamed at her. This was Emily's mother, for God's sake. Yet the connection felt authentic, a lifeline in a sea of loneliness. Faith's mind raced. Is this love or desperation? Am I using her to explore my identity? Or is it mutual? The questions piled up, each one a brick in the wall of her indecision. By the time she left, promises hung in the air. Secret meetings, stolen moments. But doubt lingered, a shadow over the spark. Days blurred into a haze of clandestine texts and quick visits. Faith avoided Emily, guilt eating at her like acid. "What's wrong?" Emily asked over lunch one day, her eyes searching. Faith forced a smile. "Just work stress." Inside, she berated herself. "You're lying to your best friend. This isn't you." But the pull to Felicity grew stronger, her confessions awakening parts of Faith she'd long ignored. One evening, as they walked in the park, Felicity kissed her cheek softly. Faith's heart soared, but reality crashed down. What if someone saw? The societal judgment, the whispers, it all loomed large. Faith pulled away, tears in her eyes. "We can't do this." But even as she said it, she knew she didn't mean it. The internal battle raged, choices teetering on the edge of betrayal. Faith's resolve crumbled faster than she anticipated, the secret meetings becoming a lifeline she couldn't sever. Each encounter with Felicity deepened the bond, their conversations peeling back layers of hidden truths. But the guilt festered, a constant whisper in Faith's ear. "You're destroying everything for a fantasy." She thought of Emily's laughter, their shared memories, and wondered if this romance was worth the inevitable fallout. Felicity, too, wrestled with her demons, her mind a battlefield of maternal duty versus personal fulfillment. "I raised her to be open-minded," Felicity confessed one night. "But how can I face her if she finds out?" The tension escalated when Emily noticed the changes. "Mom's been happier lately," she said casually during a coffee run with Faith. "Wonder what's up?" Faith's throat tightened, her smile forced. Inside, panic surged. Does she suspect? The lie sat heavy on her tongue, a betrayal that chipped away at their friendship. Faith's inner turmoil intensified. How could she justify this? Felicity was married, albeit unhappily, to Emily's father, who traveled for work, oblivious to the cracks in his home. The moral quandary gnawed at Faith. Am I the other woman in a straight marriage? Or is this liberation for both of us? One afternoon in Felicity's living room, the conversation turned heated. "We have to tell her," Faith insisted, her voice shaking. Felicity paled. "It'll break her. She's planning her wedding. How can I drop this bomb?" Emily's engagement to her boyfriend added another layer of complexity, the family's facade of normalcy cracking under pressure. Felicity's husband, Robert, was due back soon, his conservative views a ticking time bomb. "He'd never understand," Felicity whispered, fear etching her features. Faith's mind screamed, "Then end it." But her heart clung to the rare joy Felicity brought, a contrast to her lonely nights. The societal pressures mounted, invisible chains binding them. At a neighborhood barbecue, whispers about those kinds of relationships floated around, reminding Faith of the world's intolerance. She thought of her own family, distant but traditional, and imagined their horror. "Am I ready to be outed?" she pondered, doubt clouding her judgment. Felicity shared stories of friends shunned for coming out, their lives upended. "I don't want that for us," she said, but her eyes betrayed longing. The push-pull dynamic strained their connection, each meeting laced with urgency and fear. A turning point came during a late-night drive. Felicity broke down, admitting she'd considered leaving Robert years ago but stayed for Emily. "Now with you I see a way out." Faith's heart ached. Was she a savior or a homewrecker? The ethical dilemma tore at her. Encourage Felicity to leave and risk Emily's resentment, or walk away and leave Felicity trapped. "I love you," Faith whispered for the first time, the words escaping before she could stop them. Felicity's response was a tearful embrace, but the joy was short-lived. Robert called, announcing an early return. Panic set in. Hiding became harder, the lies piling up like debt. Faith canceled plans with Emily, claiming illness, while sneaking to Felicity's. "You're acting weird," Emily texted, suspicion creeping in. Faith's conscience screamed, "End it before it's too late." But addiction to the forbidden thrill kept her going. Felicity, meanwhile, grappled with her role as mother. "I'm supposed to protect her," she thought, guilt twisting like a knife. Yet the love for Faith felt righteous, a long-denied truth. The internal conflicts clashed, decisions looming like storm clouds. When Robert returned, the house tensed. Felicity played the dutiful wife, but her eyes sought Faith's during a family dinner Emily insisted on. Faith attended, heart in her throat, as Robert ranted about family values in politics. The irony burned. Here she was undermining those very values. Emily noticed the glances, her brow furrowing. "Everything okay, Mom?" Felicity nodded too quickly. Faith excused herself early, fleeing to her car where tears flowed. "This is madness," she told her reflection. The price of their love was mounting. Fractured friendships, eroded trust, self-doubt. As weeks passed, the drama intensified with a close call. Emily dropped by Felicity's unannounced, nearly catching them in a moment of intimacy. A held hand, nothing more but enough to raise alarms. "What was that?" Emily asked later, confronting Faith. "Nothing," Faith lied, the word tasting like ash. Inside she unraveled. "How long can I keep this up?" Felicity faced her own reckoning, arguing with Robert over trivialities that masked deeper rifts. "I can't live like this anymore," she confided to Faith. The choice crystallized, confess or conceal, each path laden with loss. The high stakes pushed them toward confrontation. Faith demanded clarity. "We can't hide forever." Felicity agreed, but fear paralyzed her. Their talks turned to the broader implications: societal rejection, potential custody battles if divorce ensued, Emily's wedding disrupted. Faith's mind raced with scenarios: acceptance or alienation. The moral ambiguities blurred lines between right and wrong. Was their love selfish or brave? The questions haunted her dreams, where betrayal played out in vivid nightmares. Finally, a decision loomed as Emily's wedding approached. Felicity hinted at coming clean, but Faith hesitated. "What if she hates us?" The tension built, a powder keg waiting for a spark. In quiet moments, Faith reflected on her growth. From denial to desire, but at what cost? The drama of their lives intertwined, each action rippling with consequences. The path forward was fraught, choices demanding sacrifices neither was fully prepared for. The spark ignited at Emily's bridal shower, a gathering of laughter and lace that masked the underlying fractures. Faith arrived late, her nerves frayed, only to find Felicity in the corner, eyes red from suppressed emotion. As guests mingled, Felicity pulled her aside. "Robert knows something's off," she whispered urgently. Faith's stomach dropped. Had their secret leaked? The fear propelled her into overdrive, her mind cataloging escape routes. But deeper, a resolve stirred. Maybe it's time to face the music. Emily's happiness hung in the balance, a casualty in their war of hearts. That night, alone with Felicity, the confrontation erupted. "We have to stop," Faith declared, tears streaming. "It's tearing me apart." Felicity recoiled, pain flashing across her face. "You think it's easy for me? I've given up everything inside for this." The argument escalated, voices rising in the empty house. Felicity accused Faith of cowardice, while Faith shot back about manipulation. "You pursued me," Faith yelled, the words echoing her inner doubts. Had Felicity seen her vulnerability and exploited it? The accusation hung heavy, cracking their fragile bond. In the aftermath, silence descended like a shroud. Felicity retreated into herself, questioning her motives. Was it love or loneliness? She pondered, replaying their moments. Motherhood clashed with desire, the ethical tightrope snapping underfoot. Faith, meanwhile, sought solace in solitude, journaling her turmoil. "I'm betraying my best friend for her mother. What kind of person does that make me?" The self-loathing intensified, societal norms amplifying her shame. Coming out in America meant progress, but in their conservative pocket it spelled ostracism. Emily's suspicions boiled over during a dress fitting. "Mom's been distant and you're avoiding me," she confronted Faith. "What's going on?" Faith's heart hammered, the lie ready on her lips, but something broke. "It's complicated," she hedged, buying time. Inside, the pressure built. Tell her and risk explosion or continue the deception and erode from within. Felicity faced similar torment, confiding in a therapist secretly, where she unpacked years of repression. I deserve happiness, she asserted, but the cost loomed large. A betrayal unfolded when Robert discovered incriminating texts on Felicity's phone. Who is she? He demanded, his face contorted in rage. Felicity stood her ground for the first time. Someone who sees me. The fight shattered the illusion of their marriage, divorce papers looming. Emily walked in mid-argument, confusion turning to horror. Mom? Dad? The family unraveled in real time, Emily's world collapsing. Faith, hearing later, rushed over, only to be met with Emily's accusatory glare. You knew. The question sliced deep. In the chaos, Faith and Felicity's relationship strained under the spotlight. This is what I feared, Felicity sobbed. Faith held her, but doubt crept in. Was this worth the destruction? The moral quandaries multiplied. Had they prioritized self over family? Society's judgment poured in via whispers and stares, amplifying the isolation. Faith lost friends who sided with Emily, her social circle shrinking. You're a homewrecker, one texted, the words branding her soul. As divorce proceedings began, Felicity fought for her identity. I'm not hiding anymore, she declared in court, her voice steady despite the tremors. Emily, torn between parents, lashed out at Faith. How could you do this to me? Their friendship fractured, years of trust evaporating. Faith's inner monologue raged. I thought love conquered all, but it's conquering us. The sacrifices mounted. Felicity lost custody battles initially. Emily's wedding postponed indefinitely. The drama peaked in heated mediations, where truth spilled like blood. Faith grappled with her role in the fallout. Did I push too hard? She wondered, replaying decisions. The age difference fueled critics, labeling it predatory. Yet in quiet moments their love felt pure, a beacon amid ruins. Felicity's awakening inspired her, but at Emily's expense. I'll make it right, Faith vowed, attempting reconciliation. Emily rebuffed her, pain raw. You chose her over me. The words echoed, a damning verdict on Faith's choices. The societal backlash extended beyond family. Neighbors gossiped, church members shunned Felicity. It's unnatural, they murmured, reinforcing the prejudices. Faith attended pride events secretly, seeking community, but the stigma followed. Am I strong enough? She questioned. Felicity, empowered yet broken, pushed for therapy together. We can rebuild. But the path was thorny, littered with regrets. The narrative of their lives shifted from secrecy to scrutiny, each step a test of resilience. As months passed, tentative healing began, but scars remained. Emily distanced herself, her trust shattered. Faith and Felicity navigated their new reality, love tempered by loss. The high drama of confrontations gave way to introspection, questions lingering. Was the pain justified? The story's tension simmered, unresolved conflicts promising more turmoil. Faith reflected on the journey, from confession to catastrophe, wondering if redemption was possible. The price paid was steep, but the awakening irreversible. Redemption seemed elusive as Emily's resentment festered, manifesting in cold silences and avoided calls. Faith reached out repeatedly, her messages a plea for understanding. I never meant to hurt you, she wrote, but Emily's replies were curt, laced with betrayal. Inside, Faith tormented herself. How do I fix what I've broken? The moral weight pressed down, her decisions dissected in hindsight. Felicity, too, bore the brunt, her maternal instincts clashing with her newfound freedom. I lost my daughter for this, she confided, tears flowing. The trade-off haunted her nights. A pivotal confrontation occurred at a family mediation session. Emily faced them both, eyes blazing. You two destroyed our family. Felicity broke down, apologizing profusely. I was living a lie, please try to see that. Faith added, her voice vulnerable. I love your mom, but I love you too. The room thickened with emotion, arguments flying. Emily stormed out, but not before hurling. Choose, her or me. The ultimatum forced Faith into agony. Sacrifice love or friendship. Her mind spun with ethical dilemmas. Loyalty versus authenticity. Society's role amplified the drama, with local news picking up the divorce scandal. Headlines screamed "Suburban Affair Rocks Community," painting Felicity as the villain. Protests from conservative groups targeted her. Signs reading "Protect Traditional Families." Faith stood by her, attending rallies, but the hate mail arrived venomous. "You're going to hell," one read. The external pressures mirrored internal ones, Faith questioning her path. Is love worth this fight? Felicity's resolve hardened. Yes, because it's real. In quieter times, they built a fragile life together, moving to a new apartment in the city. Away from suburbia, anonymity offered respite, but Emily's absence loomed. Felicity initiated contact, sending letters of remorse. "I want you in my life on your terms." Emily's slow thaw began with a hesitant call. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" The conversation unearthed buried pains, Felicity's repressed youth, Emily's unaddressed insecurities. Faith listened from afar, hope flickering. Yet setbacks abounded. Robert, bitter, dragged out the divorce, using custody as leverage. "She's unfit," he claimed, citing the affair. Court battles exposed vulnerabilities, Felicity's mental health scrutinized. Faith supported her, but exhaustion set in. "Am I strong enough for this?" she wondered. The sacrifices continued. Jobs lost to discrimination, friends alienated. The narrative deepened, exploring the cost of authenticity in a judgmental world. A moment of awakening came during therapy. Felicity admitted, "I used faith as an escape, but now it's more." Faith confronted her own motives. Was I rebelling or truly in love? The sessions peeled back layers, revealing growth amid pain. Emily attended one tentatively. "I miss you both," she confessed, tears bridging gaps. Reconciliation inched forward, but trust rebuilt slowly. The drama shifted from external conflicts to internal healing, choices reflecting hard-won wisdom. As Emily's rescheduled wedding approached, tensions resurfaced. "I don't want drama," she warned. Felicity promised restraint, but emotions boiled. Faith debated attending, fearing rejection. "Go," Felicity urged. At the ceremony, awkward glances exchanged, but a post-reception talk marked progress. "I forgive you, but it hurts," Emily said. Faith hugged her, relief washing over. The moment symbolized hope, but scars reminded of the journey. Societal acceptance remained elusive, with ongoing debates in their circles. Friends divided, some supportive, others condemning. Faith engaged in advocacy, speaking at LGBT events. "Our story isn't perfect, but it's ours." Felicity joined, her voice amplifying. The empowerment contrasted earlier isolation, but the price, lost time with Emily, shattered illusions, lingered. In reflective moments, Faith pondered the moral ambiguities. Did we do right by coming out? The answer eluded her. A tapestry of gains and losses. Felicity echoed the sentiment. Love demands sacrifice. Their bond strengthened through trials, a testament to resilience. Yet the story's undercurrents of doubt persisted, questioning if happiness justified the wreckage. As life stabilized, new challenges arose, integrating into Emily's life post-wedding. Family dinners tested boundaries, old wounds reopening. Faith navigated carefully, her inner voice cautioning, "Don't push." The drama evolved from explosive betrayals to subtle negotiations, each step a dance of forgiveness and growth. The narrative closed loops while opening others, the human cost of love laid bare. Stability proved fleeting as Emily's post-wedding life brought fresh complications. Pregnant with her first child, she confided in Felicity, a bridge rebuilt. But when inviting them to the baby shower, stipulations followed. "No PDA, keep it low-key." Faith bristled internally. "Are we still hiding?" The request reopened debates on acceptance. Felicity acquiesced, prioritizing family. "It's progress," she reasoned. Faith agreed outwardly, but inside resentment simmered. Why must their love be conditional? The shower amplified tensions. Guests eyed them curiously, whispers circulating. One relative cornered Felicity. "How could you choose this lifestyle?" Felicity stood tall. "It's not a choice, it's who I am." Faith admired her poise, but the confrontation stirred her own insecurities. Later, alone, she vented. "When will we be enough?" The societal grind wore on, progress slow in their conservative enclave. A deeper crisis emerged when Emily's husband, influenced by Robert, questioned Felicity's influence. Is this healthy for the baby? He asked. Emily defended her mother, but doubt crept in. The family dynamic strained anew, old betrayals resurfacing. Faith intervened gently, advocating unity. We're all flawed, she said. Inside she questioned. Am I intruding? The moral tightrope tightened, choices between involvement and retreat. Felicity's health scare. A stress-induced panic attack. Forced reevaluation. Hospitalized briefly, she reflected on her life. I regret the pain I caused, she told Faith. The vulnerability deepened their bond, but highlighted fragility. Emily visited, concern overriding grudges. I love you, Mom. The moment healed wounds, but Faith felt sidelined, her role secondary. Am I just the catalyst? She pondered, jealousy mixing with gratitude. As recovery progressed, conversations turned philosophical. Society evolves, but hearts take time, Felicity mused. Faith agreed, sharing her journey from denial to defiance. Their love, forged in fire, endured but at ongoing costs, emotional tolls, social isolation. Emily's gradual inclusion offered hope, family outings tentative but meaningful. Yet conflicts persisted. A community event exposed prejudices when a speaker decried non-traditional families. Faith spoke up, defending their right to exist. Backlash followed, online trolls strained friendships. Felicity supported her, but worry etched her face. Is it worth the fight? The question mirrored their story's core. Pursuit of authenticity versus peace. In quieter reflections, Faith weighed the ledger. Gains. Self-discovery, profound love. Losses. Fractured bonds, societal scars. Would I change it? She asked herself. The ambiguity lingered, a hallmark of their drama. Felicity echoed. No regrets, only lessons. Their resilience shone, but the narrative underscored human complexity. As the baby arrived, a symbol of new beginnings, the family gathered. Emily handed the infant to Felicity, then Faith. Aunt Faith, she said softly. The gesture bridged divides, tears flowing. Yet undercurrents of tension remained. Robert's absence, unspoken judgments. The story's arc culminated in fragile harmony, choices, repercussions echoing. Through it all, the characters paid dearly. Felicity her marriage and initial maternal bond. Faith her friendship and innocence. Emily her illusions of perfection. Awakenings emerged from ashes, self-acceptance, empathy, growth. The drama, rich in psychological depth, highlighted societal flaws and personal triumphs. But in the end, was their pursuit of love a selfish act of destruction, or a courageous stand for truth?